Okay, grade 11s, we're now going to work with Friendbook in Delphi. The first thing we're going to look at is your data-aware components. We said DBGrid is a data-aware components. There's two other data-aware components I'm going to talk to you about. Type in DB there, right? We're going to talk about the DBEdit and talk about the DB Navigator. Now your DB Navigator has options and functions here, which can be changed. You can show some buttons and remove some buttons. These can be changed. Now we'll focus on these four here for now. This takes you to the first record, that's your last record. This is the previous record, and that's the next record. I will show you how the DB Navigator works, but we're going to do that using programming code in Delphi. We'll use Delphi code to do that. We're not going to rely on the DB Navigator. Now your DB Navigator, because it's a data-aware component, you need to make sure that we connect it to your data source, which is DB Friends. When you run that, you will see how this works. But all the components need to be named. In this case, we're not going to name it. We just need to show you how it works. Now, if you look at DB Navigator, well, these two are not highlighted because we're already on the first record. So if we go on to the next record, you watch this moving down. Now this is available because we can go to the previous, go back to 1, go to the next 2, 3, it's been 4 now. This takes you to the first record, that takes you to the last record. We also have these options here. This one is to insert a record. And we can enter details. We can also delete a record. So if we go here, it's going to delete the record. Right, so now we're going to focus on programming using the buttons. We're going to do the same thing. And we're going to add 2 buttons. We need 4. We need a button for the first record, button for the next record. If you look at this button here, we'll rename it first. The caption will be first. The button should be renamed as BTN first. This will call the next button. Can I just name it as BTN next? Caption being next. Now we need to write code for these buttons so they can function. Now under button first, okay, I've written the code already. Right, so normally it would be DBM, database module, control spacebar, we get a database module, FB, friendbook, dot, your TBL, your friends, dot, and this will take you to first. Now similarly, if we're looking at next, it will be a database module, dot, TBL friends, dot, next. Database module, dot, TBL friends, dot, next. So in table friends, we go to the next. The previous one, the word we're using is prior, the instructions, and the last, this one is dot last. So that's the code to replace these buttons on the DB Navigator. We'll run this now. So we go to next, watch that the next record is being pointed to. Previous, we've gone one back. The next, next, we can go to the last record, we can go to the first record. So this will allow you to move to the relevant record. Now we're going to work with the next data-aware component. We'll remove the DB Navigator, we're not going to use that now. The next data-aware component is your DBEdit. I have done 2 already. one for the ID and one for the surname. Now the others that we would like to show you, one is first name, date of birth, class, so on. We'll just do the first name. So you need to put in the DBEdit. And if you look at this DBE surname, this will be DBE first name. Now, because it's a dataware component, we can connect it to your database. We'll go to data source and we'll connect it. We need a label. That will be a normal label. So we are aware of what data this is. And this label should reflect first name and the caption. We'll do one more dataware component, DBEdit. We'll do it for the date of birth. The name, DBE, DOB, date of birth. We connect this to your data source. We need a label. Right, if you look at the first name, you notice that here we have one in Potter, we don't have the first name. First name is Harry. Although we chose the data source, we did not choose the field. So the field for first name, once you choose the field, you find it changes. So the extra changes you need to make to property, except from data source, is to choose the field, the correct field. Right, so we can include all of that, but we'll stop here. We're going to run this and show you how this is affected. Now your first record is Potter Harry. We go to next, we have Thumb Tom. We look at it, we're 9 ID 2, Thumb Tom, and we can go on to the next. So as we scroll down your database, you'll find that your dataware components changes. It tells you exactly where you are. If you can just move to one, like I'm going to Naidu and it will appear. If I go to June, it appears. Right, so your dataware components work with your database. Your DBGrid is working with your database. Now the coding we've done so far is just under these buttons. Now we're going to do code for the others. The code to delete a record. Again, we're looking at the database module. The database module, the table dot, we need to delete record. There is an option to delete. That will delete the current, the active record, the record that is pointing to. There are other deletes that we'll look at later on. Now your update. Your update. Right, to do code for the update, and I'm going to rename it because I have an extra code under a button 1. So let me name this as btn update. For updating a record, all we do is we set the database in edit mode. There's a table in edit mode. So we make change to a database and we simply post those changes. Post those changes implies that it's being written to your database. If we make any changes on the grid and we click on update, those changes will be done to the database. That's your delete and your update. We're going to run that. Okay, we've run the database now. We need to update. So let's choose to update Harry to Peter. And you click update, the record has now changed. It will change in the database. And if you go to star as Sally, and you click on update, it will have changed in the database. Now if you need to delete a record, let's go to Sing Sally. And click on delete, it's gone. The record has now been deleted. I'm going to introduce 2 other buttons or options for you. One is we're going to do a filter where we can filter the records that we need to view. Now all these notes have been given, so you can practice them. It's given in the worksheet that you have.